Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Join Tom Mealy and Tommy Marr right here on Cablevision Channel 20 each week for an interesting episode of The Long Island View.
Hi, I'm Tom Mealy from Madhousetv, and when I'm not at the studio, I'm here at the Harrison Law Group. This is my real job. Brett and I are putting together a show called Legal Straight Talk. It'll be aired on Cablevision as well as here at Madhousetv. You need to tune in. This information that we're going to be giving the public is the real deal. It's all about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So tune in this January 2015 for a new episode of Legal Straight Talk.
Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Welcome to tonight's edition of The Filmmakers. And before we go on, I happen to notice that outside our window, someone's jumping off. No, they're really not. Actually, there's a girl taking a shower up on 42nd Street here on 3rd Avenue. No, I'm only kidding. I do that to tease my poor wife because we get into these spats, you know. I tell her who I want for president. She goes like that. And she continually makes fun of me on the air. And to both, Tom Mealy's on her side. That's really bad in my world. But tonight...
What's bad about that?
He's on your side. That's why.
But he is Tom Mealy. So
that's true, and he's no spokesperson. He is the
right.
guy. He's one of the owners of Madhousetv, and we're proud to be with Vicky, Tom, Janine, and Tommy. And speaking of people, we always have to say thanks to Cheryl and everything else. And this is not the end of the show because we're introducing right away a filmmaker who has some many titles, and we're going to start talking to him in about a moment. His name is Madhousetv. He's award-winning. He's got a lot of different things out there, and he's got a new movie that's going to be put together on Indiegogo. And so welcome to the Filmmaker Show here in New York, Madhousetv. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jerry.
Welcome.
I'm very honored to be here today.
You know, I appreciate it. Michelle had this nice little cheat sheet of mine that mentioned all your movies, but for some reason didn't show up here. So I know I was looking at the Spider-Man movie, which is entitled
The Cat and the Spider.
The Cat and the Spider, and I thought that was an interesting movie. But you have some other movies, and before we get into one specific one, give me a couple of the titles of the ones that you've been working on. I know there's a lot of them.
Oh, there's so many. I mean, my first 2 feature films, Priceless and Dishonorable Vendetta. And then my 3 short films that have been getting a lot of traction, Night Stream, Tempted, and The Dinner.
And Vendetta is the big one that's going through Indiegogo right now.
Yes,
right?
Vendetta Games. That's my next
Vendetta
feature
Games.
film.
That's why I make sure I get the titles right. No, that's pretty impressive that you got all that good stuff going.
When did all of this filmmaking start? When did you get into this?
It started for me from when I was very young. You know, like I had my toys, my Ghostbusters, my RoboCop toys, and I would always watch the cartoons and reenact the scenes that I saw in the episodes. And I'd also sneak into my parents' bedroom to watch cable when cable was big in the late 80s with HBO.
Yeah, remember that?
And I watched almost everything that they watched like late at night, other than the naughty stuff. But you know, like as I got older and I was like reenacting a lot of that stuff that I was seeing on TV with my cousins, we decided, you know, we want to get a camera and try to shoot this stuff. But I was probably like 10 or 12, and nobody in my family wanted to give us a camera, you know, because who's going to let us handle that kind of thing back then?
Sure.
But we went on a family vacation one summer, and my mom had just gotten like this new JVC camera. We met some friends that were on vacation, and we're like, you know, we have this little thing that we wrote, and we want to try to shoot it. So my mom's like, okay, we'll let you use the camera, but here's the thing. It can't be violent. There can't be cursing, you know, like what a real studio exec would probably do now to a filmmaker. Right. And, you know, we shot this thing, and then every week or every month we would just get together with my friends. We'd shoot these little things on Hi8 video, and then I wanted to do it for real. So I went to New York Film Academy for one summer.
Nice.
Really learned the basics of what it really takes to make a celluloid movie. And then eventually I went to Emerson College and I got my BA in film.
Nice. Very good.
That's incredible. And I guess you've had that creative bug since you were a child, and I think that's the real germination seed of all of us people in this industry, whether you're in one part of it or another. That thing starts when you're young, and something has made an impression to keep going with that, and that's important. So let's talk about the cat and the
cat and the spider.
The cat and the spider.
spider.
And again, I apologize. I want to say the right thing here, and the cat and the spider, because I watched all your pieces there, and I want to make sure I don't put the wrong one together. The cat and the spider is the one with the Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
actually direct the film. I just helped to be the cinematographer on it. My
Okay.
friend Michael Shivo, he was the director for his company, Hamster Pellet Productions.
Okay.
So as the cinematographer, what role did you play? What exactly does a cinematographer do?
I just try to communicate the director's vision with the camera, like depending on what the shots he wants, I put the camera where it needs to be, make sure
Right.
the lighting is there, and make sure the actors are blocked in a way where we're not blocking their faces, and make sure it's dynamic looking. And in this case, it's based on the comic books.
Sure.
So we
Right.
want to try to at least emulate those elements.
I like
from
the little
that.
twist in the end where the girl really was she supposed to be the Catwoman, and someone borrowed that Catwoman outfit for Spider-Man? Is that it?
The whole idea was that Black Cat from the Spider-Man comic books
I see.
is having like a fling with Spider-Man. And their fling is not as hot as it once was, and she's trying to figure out what to
Why?
do.
Sure. So she went to her friend.
Yeah, who's Catwoman, Selena Kyle. And
That's wonderful.
she gives her some advice, then goes back to her apartment to get her suit. She thinks she has the whole plan set up. Mary Jane, Peter Parker's girlfriend, stole the suit.
Oh my gosh. So that was cute. Now, the real story. Vendetta Games.
Yes.
That's the big one. And that one's going to be a feature.
Yes.
And that's the one. So these little shorts sort of prepped you in life to move on to the features.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Vendetta Games is on Indiegogo. And let's talk about the movie, and then let's go back a bit on the mechanics on it. So this movie is going to have a plot, from what I understand, that the authorities crossed the line a little bit. Elaborate on that.
Okay, so you have this DEA agent, special agent in charge named Marks, and he's played by J.R. Carter. He has a godson who is caught up in he had some drug issues in the past, and he found out about some stuff that was going on with his father's business. His father is a big-time casino owner.
Okay.
And he goes to his godfather for help, and he has these two DEA agents that he trusts the most to try to protect his godson. Things go wrong. The boss gets suspended because he made it a little too personal. So his agents decide they got to, make sure he gets his old job back, because now there's a lot of bureaucracy in the office.
Sure.
So they go undercover as members of the security team for this casino, and they find out about these dirty drug dealings going on between the security and some Colombian drug runners.
Okay, but that is dirty, so go on. So that's interesting. And basically, the plot, I don't want to give away your whole plot, but let's go back now to Indiegogo. A lot of people try this Kickstarter type form. Tell me about Indiegogo, why you chose that one over some of the other ones. Is that one better for filmmakers, or tell us about why you chose that?
The biggest thing is the flexibility of the goal, where Kickstarter, if you don't make the goal, you get nothing. But with Indiegogo, you still keep a percentage of whatever you make. They'll still take out maybe like 14% of your whatever you gain, even if you don't
That's a
make the
good
goal.
thing to know. That's a good difference.
Yeah.
That's a very, Michelle, you're right. You want to know what? This was a recent conversation. That's why I brought it up. And it's important that we talk to someone who's actually worked this out. I don't know all of them, but I do know that the more popular one is the one that will actually keep your money if you don't make your goal, or do they give it back to you, or give it back to the masses? Explain that.
Well, it really depends on the philosophy. Like, some people feel like with Kickstarter, you're more likely to get the goal if they know you're not going to make the money if you don't make it. So if you're in a panic for time, more people will probably try to get more money in.
Right.
But it's still a risk at the end of the day because you still have to plug this thing all over the place. Same thing with Indiegogo, where if you have the flexible funding, you still keep what you get, but it's not exactly going to be like that big number that you see on the homepage. You're only going to maybe get like a portion of that, and then they'll take out whatever the percentage may be at the end of the day.
So with Kickstarter, what happens with the money if you don't make the goal?
The money ends up going back to the people that contributed.
Okay, so they don't keep it per se. They don't say, all right, we didn't make this goal. We're supposed to make this goal, and that's our part of it. We keep everything. You give it back to the people?
Their credit cards don't get charged right away when they contribute on Kickstarter, whereas Indiegogo, it's automatically charged through PayPal.
Okay.
So there's more advantage.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot more advantage if it's necessary to have those funds to get things going.
It's interesting. So let's talk about Vendetta games some more. And basically, I wanted to ask you how you plan. Let's suppose you've gotten your money, and wherever your budget may lie, how do you plan on breaking that all up? Are you going to create a line budget to start? Are you going to also ask investors to match that? Give me an idea where your benchmark to start in is.
Well, I mean, we had already kind of started all this way back in January. I had
Okay.
hired two young aspiring producers, Kellen Erickson and Yu Wang, to help me out, and basically using their expertise to take care of the things like finding the actors, finding locations, and basically just breaking down the cost of each location, as well
Right.
as, you know, the crew that would bring in, a lot of guys who have a lot of experience working on features as well as shorts, and, you know, kind of like letting the investors know, like, this is what we need to spend on. Like, these are the most important essentials, especially because if we're shooting a casino, there's so many variables that have to be taken into account.
Of course.
Insurance and making sure that there's catering and things like that to keep everybody accommodated and the right type of gear to rent. So making sure all the bottom lines are put together. And then if they see that, then the next question will be, well, how am I going to get a return investment?
That's very important. I was waiting to see if that was going to be part of your equation, and it is. How do I get it back? I mean, I work with some investors. I work with a very important one, and the reality is that when the production companies talk to them, and I've been there, I've watched the meetings, they also give the proposal on when the money is going to come back to them.
Right.
And that's usually 18 months out from what I see, from what I've seen from that work with our people. Now, when they do that, they also promise monthly increments toward that back.
Right.
How do you plan on doing all that?
I mean, we're eventually going to try to cross those bridges at some point with the lawyers that we've hired
Sure.
from Jersey. But basically, like, we already kind of know, like, our marketing strategy for how
All right.
we intend to promote the movie, and it's going to be very much all cross-platforms, as well as having a comic book line that we want to try to promote it at
Sure.
Comic-Con, and also to try to go and maybe do small screenings in small venues to build up that audience, and trying to look at the markets as well, because theatrical distribution is changing, as you already know.
Sure.
And it's becoming much more harder to produce an independent film that could get into like 3,000 screens. I mean, you have to have like Transformers or Spider-Man's budget in order to be able to make like the real big bucks.
Sure.
So a lot of it is looking at a lot of video on demand channels, a lot of streaming services where more people are staying home to watch films and watching TV shows. So that's really, I think, the next step that we're trying to figure out in terms of trying to get that return investment is how do we get it to the masses, have that
Right.
marketing plan so that they know this film is out there, and, you know, be able to know how we're going to get a return on that investment. And a lot of it may involve things like ad revenue and also, you know, just promotions, worldwide distribution, like all those things that have to be factored in.
Right, and little promotional items, things like that.
Right.
All that good stuff that has to happen.
When did you start working on this film?
I started working on a script back in 2013. This is actually, it's a sequel to the previous film I did, which was Dishonorable Vendetta. But that one, we had some great producers, Rico Mancini, who was one of them, and we did that on a very independent level. But a lot of what we did then, we kind of like just improvised as we went along. Like, we just were focusing on just shooting the movie putting it together, and then try to see if we could go straight to distribution. And things didn't work out the way that we thought they would be planned. And this time around, a lot of it just came down to, okay, we have the script. We want to make sure it's tight. We don't want to just shoot the first draft. And then eventually bring in the actors, have them read it, go through, make any changes.
Sure,
that are
that's
necessary.
exactly right. That's exactly right.
Right. So it's been a long process of trying to figure out, okay, we don't have the money to shoot the entire movie right now, but what if we do this opening scene, which we shot back in May and is on the Indiegogo page, and maybe that might attract the investors to see the quality and to see the performances and the kind of direction that we're going for.
Right, it's always better when you have some
A visual.
video.
Right, just a visual as opposed to just having to explain it verbally,
That's right.
and they can't really grasp it in their heads what we're trying to do.
So when you go to try to sell it, you have something to show to the person. And I think that that's an important piece for filmmakers,
Oh,
to know that they need that in order to.
there's no end
market.
to the publicity and promotion you have to put together.
Oh, yeah.
Because when you're working with a major distributor, they're going to look at you and say, okay, you're the production company. You're not God. They're going to say that to you because you're not. The creative entity is only part of the big picture, even though production companies tend to believe, well, I'm the director, I'm the producer, I'm the this, I'm the star, I'm this, I'm the water boy. They look at you and simply say, so what? The reality is this: when they go out there to put money behind you, they're going to see and want to know everything, and that includes your casting people, the little names and titles after those people, because they need to know from actor one who's in it, what type of pedigree this movie is, will we get the return of investment, because the production company is very excited, always very helpful and hopeful, and they're going to simply say, well, for us to match your $10 million budget of the movie you're making or the TV show you're doing, and we're going to do that, and we're going to put it out there in distribution and advertising, we got to make sure we're getting it back. And usually, they're taking much more part of your thing. They don't get just back 10. They're what they invest, they get way more back.
Right.
But the reality is, if they did that, the amazing part is you're going to ride that wave. However little they give you, you're going to ride a wave, a big wave, because that's how big they are. Interesting. So who is doing your casting?
Pretty much it's a combination of myself and my producer, Kellen Erickson. And the guys that we have involved are just amazing. My lead actor, Chris Carullo, who's a real-life NYPD detective. He plays the lead character of Keith Miller.
Okay.
And we also have Drew Hendrickson, whose birthday is today.
You know what? Happy birthday, Drew.
Yes.
As a
Happy
matter of
birthday,
fact,
Drew.
I think Drew is an amazing, amazing actor. I've worked with Drew many, many times. We've known each other many, many years. He even did some commercials with us for Here's to Us, which is still being worked on. And I have nothing but tremendous respect for Drew. This is why you're actually here, too. And so Drew's with you, so he's going to be good. That I know I want to see already.
Oh, yeah. He's got a lot of fight scenes. He has like a romance angle in there.
Nice,
Nice.
nice,
Very
nice.
good.
Yes, good guy. And go on about some of the more things that you're trying to plan. You've got your casting people. Who's directing the show?
I'm pretty much the director.
Okay, so you're going to direct it. Try to make that directing debut out there, something that people are going to say and say, well, I like the way he positions it, and he looks like he knows what he's handling.
And where's it being shot?
Yes.
It's being shot right now mostly in Staten Island. We're also
Okay.
looking into spots in Jersey, and we're hoping to shoot also in Atlantic City.
Nice. Nice. I think that would add a lot of color to the Atlantic City.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the production design's all over the place.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And Staten Island, is that more like neighborhood scenes? I'm going to imagine just not even...
Yeah, a lot of street scenes and some of the agents' houses. There's some like scenes in bars and pool halls, like just like stuff where you see more of the personal interactions.
Is that like seedy stuff? In other words, it's going to be darkly lit with small dinkies lighting people up, and there's that secretive stuff going on?
Yeah, there's going to be a combination of a lot of those things.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
The kind of stuff that you would see in a Scorsese movie
Yeah.
or the late Tony Scott, like that type of setup.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's very good. I remember back at the French Connection.
Yes.
Which is one of the movies I watched when I was in high school. I could not believe, here I am in art and design, and I'm on a set of the French Connection. Wow, we watched that brown car get smashed so many times. There were so many of them. One right after. In fact, I'll never forget. true story. I walked over to him. I said, so listen, what movie companies here in, Ridgewood, Queens, It's like, and they're using trains and there's lights, and I want to know who you think you guys are, And the guy's ratcheting out an Arriflex camera,
Right.
big Arriflex. And they didn't use the Panavision because that's got the magazine on top, where the Arriflex is the small magazine on the back. Okay? So he pulls out this camera, it's about so wide, and he puts it in my face. And on the side, it said property of 20th Century Fox, New York, and a bullet, Hollywood, California. And all I knew was I was blown away. That was probably the biggest injection I ever got.
Right.
You can mix subway trains. My wife says I have, what do I have?
Never mind.
I have Tourette's, I have Asperger's, I have all kinds of things. I love trains because I'm an Asperger's. No, I grew up in the city. We like trains,
Of course.
That's it. Long Islanders just don't get that. But the reality is that was like a drug. I will never forget. I was just blown away. Then I'm in the High School of Art and Design, and art and design is like putting more drugs in your arm, because not only did I do advertising, then I went to the filmmaking classes, and they had huge Panaflex cameras with the lenses and how they were doing this and doing that, and they're rolling. I'm like, I needed that, and that was like, it was between that and advertising. So you wind up saying, what are you going to make more money in? Well, I made more money in advertising. I'm
Right.
still in it. I still have I still have a handful of clients that I absolutely love. But the reality is, the movie bite never went away, nor did the acting bite. And that's probably like your start, I'm going to guess, because when you were little and you saw these things, this all made that kind of an impression on you. So I can see where you're going with this. It sounds like a really exciting movie. I love the darks and
I think
Yeah.
once you get that bug and that bite, that shot in the arm, you gotta stick with it.
Yeah.
Whether it be when you're a kid or as an adult. So I know it happened to me.
It happened to you. I thought you just fell in love with me. She brought me around. Look, he's this, he's that, he's everything. She didn't say filmmaker. They said, oh my God, that's horrible. No, I think I can see the plot of this because we talked about it, and boy, I can see the storyboard unfolding right in front of me. It's incredible. I love the idea that the good guys, cross the line. That you and I were talking about The Godfather, and that was a very powerful scene in the very beginning when I don't know all the names. I don't remember every name, but I do remember when the father of the girl who got beaten and all other good stuff or bad stuff,
Right.
have you take it. He exhausted going to people to help him. The authorities couldn't help him. The police couldn't help him. There was so many reasons that he finally went to Don Corleone, and then he broke that. You try to stay within that line, but he broke it. And I guess that's where your authorities are going to go, because they got to take matters into their own hands. And that to me is a great push and pull,
Yeah, there's like a trifecta of a
Yeah.
family with the three main characters of Miller, Stokes, and Marks, where
Sounds like a law firm. Are you guys watching from legal? Where's Tom Mealy? We got to do a legal straight talk on that. Miller, what was the name of it?
Miller, Stokes, and Marks.
Miller, Stokes, and
Attorneys
Marks.
at law.
Be a hell of a spinoff.
It's a new spin-off for Legal Straight Talk. No, that sounded good. Go on. I didn't mean to. That just came.
Oh no, not at all. But Miller, he's like the broken character with a lot of baggage in his past. Then you have Stokes, who's like the family man who's always more concerned about trying to get home at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And Marks, he's the boss who has his act together. He's the one that makes sure his guys don't fall into the cracks of the temptation of the drug underworld. But it's that particular case in this movie that all the lines start to blur and the roles start to change.
That's exciting.
And yeah, and it creates a lot of cracks and tensions in their partnerships as well as their friendships.
That's important. Those tensions have to go on.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something in terms of mechanical things. New York City police cars, you're going to be bringing them in or what?
Well, I mean, most of these guys are
Undercover, so you're working with a four-door sedan.
Yeah, it's going to be
type
all
of-
unmarked cars.
Yeah, all unmarked cars, okay. And, when we did movies back then, we had that. We actually had the police department help us. We actually had clamp-on lights that went under the grill. So
Yes.
we had four-door Dodges and four-door Furies back for some of the movies I did. Carbonero was one of them. And when the police came down the hill and we were them, all we did was press buttons. We also, here's another great place to get them. The people who do volunteer ambulances have in their grill the lights that go on?
Yeah.
That's a great place. If you can enlist a couple of those guys by going to your local ambulance thing, and they come down with lights on and unmarked cars, that's awesome. It's another way of finding them. And there's so many different things. You shoot close to a precinct, and you got more police trucks in the background if you need it.
Right.
Little ideas. That's all the art direction that I would come in and say, well, let's try things like this, you know? Okay, in the next few minutes, we got a few minutes left, believe it or not. But you're such an interesting guest, I could probably talk to you another hour.
Yeah.
But your projects sound good. And I really applaud you for going this way and doing it. You know, more people have to understand that they got to break the box together. Forget about thinking outside the box. You break the box, okay?
Absolutely.
You destroy it, you kick it, you knock it over. You do what you got to do to really get things done. You know. Now, before we go off, how do we find you for things like actors may want to audition for you, people may want to talk to you, different people with different props may want to do things. Sponsors may be interested in you, and I'll tell you why. You're working in a Today film.
Yes.
There's a handful of things that could happen. Maybe your cops are drinkers. Maybe there's a local alcohol distributor that'll say, you know what, if you put my XXX in here, whatever it is, we can give you X amount of dollars. Think along those lines, because those people want to get seen. They don't care about your movie, but they know on a bar where these two guys are sitting and talking, and now you're pouring into that little glass.
They want that cross promotion.
That's an incredible
Right.
cross promote.
Right.
Little things like that can help you pay for a lot.
Absolutely.
All right. How do we find you?
Okay, my website, ajepixproductions.com. It's EPYX in terms of the word epics.
Mm-hmm.
You can find all my info there, as well as my IMDb page.
Nice.
I'm also on the web show, The Cinephiles, where we review movies.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about
Yeah.
that. We got a few moments. You're on another show. Tell me about that show, Cinephiles.
Yeah, The Cinephiles, myself, Eric Cohen, Jeff Galashaw, and occasionally Michael Faltz, we all get together to talk about different movie topics. So we cover pretty much a wide range of genres. We do a podcast where we also talk about the news, as well as movies we've recently seen, and then we'll talk about like a specific industry-related topic. And
Nice.
I've been doing it for about a year now. It's been great with those guys.
Wonderful. And it's just podcast, no regular cable?
We have a video component on YouTube. And
On
we're
YouTube?
Yeah, we're hoping to eventually get that on a cable channel at some point.
Awesome. Awesome. What's your phone number in case or the main number that they want to get you, or would you rather just go to the website?
You can go to the website.
The
and,
website. One more time with the website then, please.
ajepixproductions.com.
AJEPYX.
Yes.
And I happen to be on there today looking over your stuff when I noticed that you put so graciously the advertisement for our show on there. That's great. That's great.
Cross promotion.
Cross promotion. Look at that. All right, so we got about a minute or so left.
Let
and-
me just quickly also plug, I
Please.
have my 2 short films that are screening next month.
Oh, tell us about those.
Yes, Tempted, my short film comedy, and also The Dinner, which I shot with Anna Sneed, one of my college classmates.
Okay.
It's going to be playing at the National Navy Museum on August 20th at 6 p.m.
And where is that?
In Washington, D.C.,
Oh,
at the
okay.
National Navy Museum.
That's wonderful.
That's wonderful.
You can find that info on the website to buy the tickets. And we're also going to be playing Tempted at Wesleyan University in September.
Very nice.
Well, you know what?
Very
And there's nothing like getting out there and doing this. All right, and speaking of getting out there, if you're watching us on Channel 20, we'll see you next week. If you're here on Madhouse TV, stay tuned for another show. We've got a very interesting book writer, Shari Lynn Fishbach, and we'll learn all about Dex. With that, I say thank you to Michelle Parisi. Thank you, Cheryl Dobbins. Thank you, Violetta Anna Licari. And thank you, Janine Zarilli, Vicky Mealy, the iconic Tommy Marr, and Tom Mealy. Without them, we couldn't have Madhouse TV. Thanks, guys. We'll see you then. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi. Join Tom Mealy and Tommy Marr right here on Cablevision Channel 20 each week for an interesting episode of The Long Island View.
Hi, I'm Tom Mealy from Madhouse TV, and when I'm not at the studio, I'm here at the Harrison Law Group. This is my real job. Brett and I are putting together a show called Legal Straight Talk. It'll be aired on Cablevision as well as here at Madhouse TV. You need to tune in. This information that we're going to be giving the public is the real deal. It's all about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So tune in this January 2015 for a new episode of Legal Straight Talk.
Hi, I'm Jerry Parisi, and thank you for tuning into the Filmmaker Show. Well, we got some very interesting guests tonight, but before we do that, I got to point out that I'm sitting in front of the window here over Manhattan, and we keep on peeping into different windows with binoculars. That my wife taught me how to do. I'm sorry, I had to throw that one out. This was really Tom Mealy's idea of saying someone was jumping off the building, but rather than have the news cameras over there and no one's really jumping, I just thought it would be funny to say it. All right, so how are you tonight, Michelle?
I'm good. How are you?
I haven't figured it out. That's why I'm sitting in front of the window.
We have some exciting guests, and they brought cookies.
Just what I need to eat on. Battling weight left and right. And, of course, we have cookies on set. But you want to know what? It's all part of their genre. They have a wonderful book, and it's all about this little chef. And you know, we should probably bring them on, because why should I describe them and do their
When they
job?
can. It's so exciting. So let's bring them on.
Sherry Lynn Fishback and her husband Brad, ladies and gentlemen, here they are tonight to talk about their book, Dex. How are you guys?
Great. Doing great. Glad to be here.
Thank you.
Well, you know, we're very proud to have you here, and it took a while to get here, you know?
Yes, it did.
But you want to know what? I saved the best guest for last, even in the summertime, see? Although we're booked into October, don't ask me why.
Well, I'm actually very, very grateful to be here on the hottest day of the year.
And you know something? You, Mother Nature, just keep coming with those hot days, because I can't stand anything under 90. I really hate it. I don't know anybody who ever skidded on humidity. So
Everybody else is passing out, and he's riding his bicycle.
it's true. I love it.
They could go together.
You and I could go together.
You and I can sit in air conditioning and drink wine.
You want to know why?
Yes,
I
there you go.
absolutely can't
Sounds
even
like a plan.
All right, go for it.
I can't
Sorry.
even stand the air conditioning. No, it's all right. You want the air conditioning. I don't. And that's the whole thing in a nutshell. I'd rather have this heat because it doesn't stay long. It's too bad. You know, but speaking of heat and hot books, which you can get on Amazon.com. That's right, on Amazon.com, you too can get Dex. I feel like this announcer here.
Thank you. So go ahead, announce.
Tell us about Dex.
Tell us about Dex.
Dex is a tweenager, which means he's about 12 years old.
Okay.
And he is extraordinary because he can cook. And it's this gift that he got from his recently deceased grandfather. And he is a whiz in the kitchen. And he loves making people happy with his food. But he's also very entrepreneurial. And he has a little gourmet lunch stand in front of his house on his lawn.
Sort of like a lemonade stand.
Yes.
Just more so.
Exactly. It's like morphed into this incredible business. And he makes all kinds of gourmet sandwiches and cookies and all kinds of food. And he has this great
Hence the cookies.
The cookies is part of that.
I have
There
a
you go.
question. Am I a teenager? I just want to double check.
Well, you look like one,
Oh,
and you
I
act
like
like
her.
one, but I'm not sure.
Developmentally, I'm thinking.
I'm thinking you're right.
About 12.
I think it's a great age to be. I'm going to
I
stay
do
at
too.
12.
Maybe you should start a gourmet food thing on the street.
I'll eat all the profits. And speaking of eating, what do you have over here?
Well, as Dex says, you know, and his grandfather had said, when life hands you lemons, make a meringue. So I started making meringue cookies during Passover when you're not supposed to eat anything with gluten
Leaven,
and flour. And so these became a classic Passover dessert. And now everybody's clamoring for them. So I brought them for you.
You have to taste one.
May I try one?
You may.
All right. Ladies and
I'm
gentlemen.
going to taste one too.
I used to be 110 pounds before she started making meringue cookies.
They are good.
Very
That's right.
delicious.
You're
Thank
envying
you.
me right now, aren't you?
Thank you, thank you. I don't look anything like Dex, however.
What does Dex look like?
He's very, very tiny and lanky and kind of geeky. And that's why he has this business, because he really wants to bulk up and look very buff so that he can win over his love interest, who is this beautiful little Chinese-American Jewish girl. And he really wants to be able to take her to the spring dance. And so he is using his profits to buy a gym system that is going to get him where he wants to be.
That's awesome.
Yes.
How did this character come
Yeah, that's
to
a great
be?
question. How?
Well, it's an interesting kind of thing. I really wanted to be able to find elements that were popular today. I also wanted to make a hero and a role model that's really something that kids could and should relate to. We don't really have that today. We could say that Dex is not really a wizard. He's not a rock star. He's a kid with an extraordinary gift, and that's something that children can aspire to be, regardless of their age. They're still when they're gifted, and they should definitely hone that experience with experience to be able to be even better at their craft. And so that's part of what I wanted to do. I wanted to make a solid hero. I also wanted it to be a boy, because I felt that it was really important for boys to know that they can be in the kitchen, that they can be as masculine as they want to be, but they can also participate in anything that they want to participate in, just like girls can be in sports and boys can be in the kitchen.
Is
Gender
Dex
neutral.
based on a young child that you may know?
Dex isn't really based on anybody that I know. Actually, Dex is probably the antithesis of what I know. Well,
It's sort of to get across a concept.
Yeah, it was more of the idea. I wanted something to be very, very kitchen friendly. I wanted the kitchen to be a place where kids would want to be, where kids would feel comfortable. The actual dishes that are discussed in Dex, there's no real recipes for them.
I was just going to say, are there recipes?
No, purposely, I didn't do it because I wanted kids and whoever, all the readers, to be inspired by whatever dishes seem to appeal to them for some reason, and that maybe then they would look to create their own dishes just from hearing what they are.
However, the dishes are real, because when Sherry was working on the book with an editor, one of the things the editor said, who was a foodie as well, was anything you put in there can't be fantasy food. And there's actually a true story. There's a dessert cake that Dex makes for his sister, and it's called let me make sure I get this right, triple chocolate ganache cake.
Is that the
With Oreo
picture?
buttercream
Yes, that's the
frosting.
picture.
Wow.
So, Vicki,
Wow.
when you have a chance, if I would be kind enough to put that picture up there, that's the cake right there you're referring to?
Correct. Triple chocolate ganache with Oreo
Wow.
buttercream frosting. And true story, our editor read it and came back and said, well, this is wonderful, but I'm sure it's a fantasy. And the truth was, we made it,
Well,
which you see.
my daughter made it.
Well, I
Gave
want to
her-
know why you didn't bring that instead of the cookies.
Because
I would rather have had the chocolate cake instead of the cookies.
you picked the hottest day of the year.
Yeah,
I
would've
had
made it
one
out.
It melted. It would have
portable.
melted, right?
But everything in the book actually is real. And the true story is, after we made it, we sent it and said, here's the recipe, here's what it looks like, and by the way, it was delicious.
Yeah, and some things are really weird. I knew that Dex needed to make things that were a little bit more extraordinary and unusual.
Okay.
That were also kid-friendly. And so he makes this peanut butter and jelly French toast using eggplant. Instead,
Eggplant.
That's right, you too can have a peanut butter jelly eggplant sandwich. Just sign on a dotted line and we'll send you one.
I know, it sounds really bizarre.
Is it good though?
How did they?
I know. I thought it sounded really bizarre too when I wrote it. And I was like, why am I writing this? Okay, if I'm writing this,
It must,
there must
be for a reason.
So,
Well, I'll tell you, Michelle, I'm one of the guys that reads everything first before it comes out in the book. And I said to her, I said, I don't think so. I don't think this is going to work. And here it is. It's 11:30 because we work through the night sometimes.
Who
And
doesn't
she goes,
these
okay,
days?
we have eggplant in the fridge because I love it. She says, let's do it. So I'm the guinea pig for that. It's one of my roles.
Hence eggplant.
And I'm still here. All right, so it actually works. It does taste like French toast with the peanut butter and jelly on the eggplant. It's totally vegetarian, which I am. I'm the guinea pig for all the things that are in Dex.
I'm trying to even visualize this.
Yeah.
Is it used instead? Is the eggplant used instead of bread, or is it
Yes.
Yeah.
between bread?
yeah.
Ah, so it's instead of bread.
Instead of bread.
So the eggplant becomes the bread.
The
Is it
bread.
breaded?
Yes.
It's breaded.
Okay, so
It's
that we
breaded.
have breaded eggplant, and then we have
Yes.
peanut butter and jelly. Do you cut
Yes.
it?
You could.
Okay.
And is this the thing you have during the holidays?
Which
No, you
think
can't
it's-
have it during
I
the
think it's
holidays
peanut
'cause there's
butter.
bread in it.
Listen, I don't know. You're the Jewish one in the family. I'm the Italian with Christmas. You're the one with all the other holidays.
But you see, Dex could help you because
He can. Have him come over and
he
cook.
can. Because Dex is
And he can do the dishes.
He's an Italian Jew, so
There you
Dex
go.
can help you.
Look at that.
With a Oriental Jewish girlfriend.
Well, he hopes. He hopes that he's going to be able to make her his girlfriend. But we'll see. Because
Now, I understand there's a section in the book where he's at her bat mitzvah,
Yes.
and there's some interesting conglomeration of food as Oriental Jewish molded together.
Yes.
How did that work? What are some of the foods that were in that?
Well, he uses a lot of oy sauce.
Oy sauce?
Oy sauce.
Oy vey.
sauce.
So much
No,
sauce.
oy vey sauce would be different.
Oh.
Oy sauce.
Whole
Right.
different bottle. Oy vey sauce.
That's right.
That's true. They already make an oy vey sauce.
Oy vey, the sauce.
And what are some of the other ones?
We
Something-
have
There are there's wonton matzo ball soup. There's a bok choy knish.
Bok choy, Ganesh.
And how did you come up with that idea.
And how does the Jewish world let you get away with it? That's what I want to know.
Hey, Jews and Chinese food are like this.
Jews and Italians were like this.
In fact, there's even a Jugu Gai pan. we had a lot of fun.
Where's Cheryl? Get her back here. I need a glass of water. This is killing me. Jugu Gai pan.
Yes.
If I get notes from some committee somewhere around the United States, like I get the emails, we're going to be in big trouble.
Right.
Because I can't even answer these emails with all the different things that they ask
I'll
me.
answer it.
You're going to have to.
I'll have to answer it.
You know, when we first met, she says to
And
me...
if not, we'll call Sharon.
We could do that.
Absolutely.
We first met, you know, I said to her, you know, I absolutely hate Christmas. I'm a great Scrooge, and I play Scrooge, okay? And the reality is, she says, well, you're gonna love our holidays. I said, no, if I don't like my holidays, I'm really not gonna like yours. I don't want more holidays.
Right.
In fact, for me, if we could actually start the clock Memorial Day and go to Labor Day and spin it back to Memorial Day and go to Labor Day, that's all I'd really rather have. That's why we have to move to a climate like that.
But
You'd
it's
have
much
Flag
more
Day
fun.
every 3 months.
Fine. And the 4th of July, you buy your whole thing of firecrackers, you're all set.
But holidays are fun because holidays inspire.
No, holidays are a lot of cooking.
It's food.
Calories.
It's food.
Oh my God, she
Well,
makes all this great food.
It doesn't always have to be about the
And
calories.
then she force feeds me with a gun in my face. Oh, eat that.
Really?
All I know is he puts hot sauce in matzo ball
everything.
soup.
That's right. And it's good.
Right.
That's like sacrilegious somehow.
It's a little different, but you know, I'm gonna see, maybe
Listen,
Dex
bok
would-
choy, whatever
That
you
sounds
make.
like
it
something
in.
Dex-
With
That's
the dragon's
that sounds
toe.
like a cross-reference there, like in the book.
There you
I
go.
think so.
Yeah.
I think he'd be into it.
So talk about this book. It's beautifully bound. It's got how
Thank
many
you.
pages? A lot. It's a good read. It's not just a summer read. This is a. I always have to hold this up, and look at myself in the monitor, make
Oh,
sure I've
good.
got the right camera there. Yeah,
Oh,
good.
Dex looks really good on you, Jeff.
No, actually, so this is a nice book. This is not just a summer read. This is a really good book to sink your teeth into.
How did the cover hold it up? How did the cover get designed? What
Well-
was the inspiration for the cover?
We have an incredibly gifted friend who's a graphic artist, Arlen Schumer, and he was kind enough to do the design for us.
And what was his name? I just want to say it again.
Arlen Schumer.
Arlen Schumer, thank you for this cover. Are you any relation to Amy Schumer? Just ask the question.
I don't think so.
I think he gets that all the
So,
time.
bet he
so
does.
it was inspired by him.
Well, what he said was, okay, he had the Dex logo, but he didn't have anything behind it. And he said, you know, find me an image of whatever food you would like that you think would look like something that would be representing Dex.
So we went to Google Images, like everyone does.
I
Sent
wouldn't. I'd shoot the whole thing. That's what I do with my clients. But that's okay. That's what you do. Put us out, creative directors, out of work.
We sent, I don't know, a couple of dozen images to him, said something here ought to work, and he came back and said, no, this one's wrong, it's from the side, I need it from the front, I need it from the top. There was nothing on Google that would work. So Sherry took over.
I remembered that I had pasta in the refrigerator, tricolored pasta as it turned out. So
You're covering all bases with colors
I
tonight.
know, right?
Every ethnic group is being touched, even tricolor pasta.
Right. Yeah, well, I'm very friendly that way.
You are.
Politically correct.
Imagine if you brought home tricolor pasta one day. Mom, I'm bringing home my boyfriend's tricolor pasta. Go ahead.
Well, I did. And I found it, and I have a granite counter, and I didn't want to fight with that, so I got a white cloth. I found a white bowl. I put the pasta into the bowl. I said, oh, I need a pop of color, but I don't want anything
Hence the
that's-
tomatoes.
And hence the tomatoes. And then there was a sauce that had already been concocted, but a sort of like an oil-based type sauce.
Are we really saying that we're looking at leftovers over here?
You are looking at
So we're
leftovers.
gonna hold this up again. Notice the colorful tomatoes.
Well, actually, the other camera's got the
Right.
blow up of the book. It might be easier to look at that blow up
Sure.
of the book. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but the blow up of the book says, and of course it mentions your name on the bottom, which we didn't. Sherry Lynn Fishbach, and I always want to say that right. And I want to say flashback from when I met you, but that's not the way I'm saying it.
But that was a pleasant day.
It was a pleasant day.
Yes.
We
Pleasant
met
day.
on the set of
Yes.
what? It was.
It was Mick DeRussell's the ALS benefit.
That's right, the ALS
Yes.
benefit, and you were being interviewed by one of our shows here, Date Night with Connie and Chrissy, which is an amazing show on Friday nights. You want to watch a great show on Madhouse TV other than mine? You want to watch Date Night, and that's on Friday night on Madhouse TV with Connie and Chrissy. Amazing, funny women, and they got a great show going on. So back to, we met that day at the ALS benefit, and I thought you were amazing. I saw your whole stance, your whole thing. I said, wow, this woman really, really is out there. But the proof is in the product. Because as any creative director in advertising, 41 years, would know that to get behind the product and sell it, you got to know the product. And from what I've been reading of this book and thumbing through it, and I really can't stop reading it, it looks very good. This is a great way of giving self-esteem to people. Yes. It seems like this batch of children, I mean, the way you've positioned everybody, different nationalities, this and that, different types of food, it's giving everybody a promotion in that respect.
Absolutely.
And teaches acceptance.
Yes, that was something that was a very important theme for me. Also because I think today with all the bullying that we see going on in school, I thought that it was really, really important to have somebody who was standing up for togetherness and loyalty, acceptance, being friends with one another, finding commonality.
Are you marketing this for high school students?
Not really high school, more actually, I would say.
Middle school?
Yeah, it's a
Right,
middle
because
school.
the child's 12.
Yeah, it's
Sure.
a middle school. But he does have an eclectic array of friends. He has one of his best friends is an African American girl who has 2 white gay dads.
Wow.
And one of them is biologically hers, but they don't really know which one.
Okay.
They both contributed and then.
Oh, is
Well,
that
you,
right?
you've given a lot of wonderful tidbits about the book.
Yeah.
And it would be really exciting for people to read the book and find out. So how would a person get the book?
Absolutely. Go to Amazon.com and type in Dex and Sherry Lynn Fishback, and it will come up. And I would
What is
be
the
thrilled to hear from you.
what is the distribution rate? Do you have any idea how many there's printed? There are probably several thousand of these.
I'm sure there's, well, it's readily available.
There's no waiting,
No
which is what I was really
waiting.
trying to get across. There's no
Yeah,
waiting.
no waiting.
You can get it. It's on Amazon.com,
Yeah.
Dex.
There's a
it's in
question,
Kindle,
there's
too.
an absolute question that I have to ask her,
Here we go.
okay?
I know what it is,
We have to
Michelle.
talk about, yes, we have to talk about your nails.
You do.
I don't know if we could get
Do we
a
have that
close-up
photograph of the nails?
Of her nails somehow. Hold it up like this.
Like this, no, like this.
Yes. Her nails say Dex on them, and I'm just wondering, how did you do that?
Well, actually, he's probably better at discussing this than I.
Go ahead.
We decided bookends. So the 2 nails, the fingernail and the pinky, the thumb and the pinky, are the bookends to Dex.
Okay.
Those nails were actually, we took the logo, shrunk it really, really tiny,
Okay.
and it is shellacked on there, I guess.
I brought it to my nail guy, John, at Ellen and Nails in Valley Cottage. And he actually took the little tiny piece of paper, actually, and shellacked it on. It's
Wow.
with like
Wow.
gel.
So it's the 3 middle
Yes,
fingers
it's,
of each hand.
Yes.
Say Dex.
Yes, say Dex.
That is so way cool.
It was fun. It was fun. Next
Yes.
time, I think I'm going to try to get decals and make his life easier. So.
How often do you have to change your nails and the supply of Dex little things?
Well, actually, I did this for you. So this is an experiment.
So this
That's
was
respect.
special for us.
Special?
for
We
you.
are honored.
I felt that I needed to do something a little different.
Look
Very
at that.
nice.
For our
Very
show
nice.
alone?
For you.
For the next show, she'll do the back of the book, but you have to read the really, really tiny print.
Oh, look at that really tiny
We'll
print.
bring you a telescope and the nails.
Right.
She's
That's
gonna
pretty
put the
great.
skew on her nails?
Well, it'll be very small,
Very
but it'll
small.
still scan.
Then I would need 9-inch nails. Wait, that's a totally different.
Hysterical. And let me ask you this. Have you sold many books so far?
It is constantly selling. It has a 5-star rating on
That's
Amazon.
great. That's great.
People that have bought it absolutely love it for their kids. I've had older people that have said, what a great book. There was I know she got contacted by a teacher or two that wanted to actually use it in the curriculum.
Nice.
Because it is the loyalty, the tolerance.
That's why I was asking. I have a teaching background. That's why I
Right.
was asking.
Actu-
It would be great.
Wait, is this time for our Common Core question
Me
of the
too.
It
week?
might be the Common Core
Me too.
question of the
Common
week.
Core question of the week.
Oh.
How much is 11 and 11?
Oh, no, don't ask me.
22?
Wrong. 30 gallons of water will not fall if you drop it. Okay, that's the way we see Common Core.
Okay. Right. No, I understand. Well, Common Core is a weird thing in education.
Yeah, we
right
just
Absolutely.
do
now.
that.
I also have a master's in English ed. So
Oh, okay.
That's
So
my
it was either I
background as
asked that
well.
question, I try to
Yes.
figure out who you want for president. Then she goes, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." So
No.
She's very politically correct not to answer your question.
oh, we're not,
not
into that
enough
question.
information yet.
Yeah.
The
That's
time
right.
will come. The time will
Yes.
come.
And speaking of time coming, what a horrible thing I'm going to tell you now.
Already?
We have to say thank you to several people here. Michelle Parisi, let me thank you. Shari Lynn Fishback, Brad, yourself, thank you for being on the show.
It was great being on the show with
It's
you.
nice being on the show with you. You should have one. Your own. Cheryl Dobbins, Violetta Anna Carey, but the greatest four people that I know, that would be Tom Mealy, Vicky Mealy, Janine Zerilli, and the iconic Tommy Marr. With that, if you're watching us on cable channel 20, thank you very much for tuning in tonight. If you're watching Madhouse TV, we got great shows for you. Take a good look on Friday night for Date Night with Connie and Chrissy. We guarantee you'll die laughing. From me, Jerry Parisi, I want to say thank you to everybody else. Good night, everybody.
Good night.